welcome to another episode of the Young Leaders Club podcast. Today I am with Sam Norris. How are you?
I'm good, I'm tired.
You're tired? You've been walking a lot.
I've been walking a lot, but...
We'll get into that a little bit later. But Sam, you are the founder of Grand Union Finance, speaker, trusted broker, and for property investors across the UK. This is all stuff I'm not familiar with. It's not in my territory, so it'll be good today to dive into it, unpack it all, and then if there's anybody listening who might be thinking, actually, that's kind of what I'd like to go into, then we can unpack it all.
Absolutely.
And get into it. But your story is a lot more than just finance. It's about vision, strategy, building something meaningful, building connections within the industry. So you're here to share about how you became the go-to broker in property. And more importantly, how young leaders can get some good advice from you. So I want to take it from the very beginning for you. What were you like in school? Did you ever think, do you know what? I actually want to go into property. I want to go into finance. Like, was this something that was on your radar?
So you know when people talk about school and they say like the best years of my life, and then on the flip side, the idea of like going to like a reunion and like, oh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite of that. They were the worst years of my life, and I would love to go to a school reunion because I don't think anyone would recognise me.
Oh gosh!
Like, I was a short, dumpy geek that no one wanted to talk to. I was bullied. It was horrible.
Oh no!
And now I'm this. Like I'm a completely different person. but I genuinely don't think anyone at school would recognise me. I certainly back then would not have anywhere near the confidence to think that I could run a business, with employees and do the stuff I do on like social media and talking it and things like that. I don't really know where that sort of came from. It was obviously always in me, but I didn't. That wasn't me at all at school. I was quiet and
I think that's one thing that a lot of people do push on you when you're at school. Like, enjoy these years. These are the best years of your life. So for people who don't feel that way, obviously you didn't feel that way in school. It's nice to have that perspective straight up and be like, actually, best years of my life came after school.
School was crap. It was horrible. Couldn't wait to get out. It's I think, you're right. Everyone says they're meant to be the best years of your life. The best year of your life is the one you're currently living. Like,
I like that.
There's, you look back and you learn, or you look forward and you waste time thinking about what can be. Like, live in the moment. Too many people don't do that. And too many people, I know so many people that were the cool kids at school, and I look at them on Facebook now and I'm like, they were the best years of your life, weren't they? Definitely. The hairline's receding a little bit, not quite as good looking as they used to be. I'm thinking, I'm looking at you, mate.
What were your your go-to lessons? Like, if you were thriving in anything in school, what was it?
I loved history, so I actually have 2 history degrees. Not a lot of people know about this.
Really?
Yeah. I went back and did another one.
Oh my God!
A master's, yeah. So
if it wasn't enough, you went and got another one.
But I did it again. I do everything in my life based on how I feel about things, and I didn't go and do a history degree because I suddenly wanted to be like a history teacher. So I did it because I just enjoyed doing it.
Yeah.
And I don't think I think in particular like my family and friends and stuff, they didn't really get that. They were like, but you've got to have that vision. You've got to look to the future. What are you going to do? And I'm just like, I just want to go to university. I want to experience it. I want to get away from home. I want to. Whilst I'm there, I'll just do something that I actually just already enjoy doing, and I'll figure the rest out as I go. So you talk about like vision earlier on, and I think it's good to have a vision, but it should be a moving target. I change slightly and alter my vision and what I'm trying to do fairly frequently. Not so much as it's like shiny penny syndrome, but I know ultimately some of the big things, but some of the methodology in terms of getting there changes quite frequently. I think too early, kids nowadays are told like you've got to have your career set out, you've got to know what you want to do, you've got to know your end goal. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You just need to every day, do something to make yourself a little bit better. Explore as many things as possible. Do as many things as possible. Go travel and see the world. Something will eventually just click, and you'll go, "That's me," and then you can move in that direction. Then
I think there's that pressure as well. Like as a 26-year-old, I've massively felt the pressure in my 20s to have everything figured out. And I've spoke about this on previous episodes before, so many people are at different stages within your 20s. You know, I'm in my third year of university. A lot of my friends now finished uni like 5 years ago. They've got mortgages. They're thinking about getting married. And I'm just like, whoa, I'm the complete opposite end to this. So how did you kind of tackle that? Did you experience that in your 20s where you were thinking, man, I've got to have everything sorted out right now? And yes, I've been going with the flow. I've been doing what I've been enjoying. But now I've kind of got this like looming doom, you know, of, man, is it going to work out for me? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that?
I think I've always just assumed that it kind of all will work out the way that it's meant to work out. I mean, my life has not been the standard, you know, go to school, go to uni, get out, meet a partner, get married, have kids, you know, have a career. That hasn't happened at all. You know, I'm divorced, I've got no kids. You know, these are not the things I thought I would have in my life at this point. But I'm like as happy as I've ever been in my life right now. So having all that stuff mapped out is great. In my 20s, when I tell people all the time, but they're like, how did you come into being a mortgage broker? Like, I literally went to the wrong interview. That's how I became a mortgage broker.
Okay. Yeah. So what interview were you at then?
I thought, I came out of uni, my dad's a builder, I worked on site with him for a bit, and then I was like, nah, this is far too much hard work for these, you know, these lovely hands. I'm not going to be lobbing bricks around on a building site anymore.
It's not for me.
No, thank you. So I thought, I need to get an office job, and fell into some just finance job in London doing research and stuff. And then I got a call from a recruiter who said, I think you'd be great for this trainee broker role. But what she didn't say was trainee mortgage broker role. So obviously I'm thinking, broker, stock broker, excellent. So then I did loads of like prep about like the stock market and things. And then I turned up to this interview. I was the youngest person there by about 10 years. Oh, it was a group interview. I wasn't told that.
Right, okay.
So group interview.
Gosh.
There was about 11 other people there. Went all the way down to Southwest London. Had zero prep then. And yeah, I was the only person out of that whole group that got offered a job though.
How weird is that though? Yeah. Weird and wonderful, because it's also kind of like, okay, I thought I was going to a completely different interview, somehow managed to bag the job. Yeah. It's almost like, okay, is that what I was meant to be doing anyway? And that's just how it's led me to that place. I genuinely think the reason that I got this job was, so you have like the group interview kind of thing, and then you get shuffled off and you have a 30-minute session with, as it turned out for this company, a very big, quite intimidating South African bloke, which for an early 20s little kid was not great. But I quickly realised that I was in a difficult situation. And I had to think on my feet. I had to be like, right, how am I going to navigate this? So we sat down, and before he said anything, I said, look, I've got a bit of a confession to make. Explained the situation to him, and I put forward the idea of, we've got 30 minutes. How about if I can have 15 minutes of that, and I can ask you loads of questions? I'm quite a quick learner. I think I could figure this out. You can then ask me whatever questions you want, and at the end of it, we'll decide whether we like each other. And I think that's what got me the job, because he thought, this guy can think on his feet and can clearly figure things out. That's quite an interesting way of how you navigated that situation. I mean, especially like in your early 20s, because like you said, I would be, if I was put in that situation, I'd be like, oh my goodness, what do I do? And sometimes you also kind of just, you sink into that way of being like, oh, I'm just going to act like I know what's going on. Yeah. So to be straight up and be like, actually, guys, this isn't what I thought it was. These are things that I think are underrated qualities. Like honesty, like nowadays, just being transparent is like, people just aren't. They're always looking at ways of like trying to get out of situations and push the blame on other people. Like one of our key like core values at Grand Union is just being upfront and honest and transparent with our clients and everyone that we work with all the time. Yeah. Good and bad. So this is the opposite actually. I have to tell my team all the time to remind them to tell the clients when we're doing something really awesome. Yeah. Because they don't. They go to them and say, oh, something's gone a little bit wrong. We found a solution. This is what's happening. Yeah. But they won't go. The other week, one of my team, she did this amazing bit of work, and I said, have you told the client? She's like, no. She's going to get the outcome. I said, yeah, but tell her about what we've actually done to get that outcome, because it's amazing and I'm really proud of you. Yeah. So I think honesty and just transparency nowadays is a bit of an undervalued skill. People are always looking at
how can I get out of this situation? Just fess up, just be honest,
Yeah.
and then use that to find a solution.
Yeah, I love that. So obviously you made that first step into going to the wrong interview and ended up being a mortgage broker. Did that then lead you into your journey into finance? Did it all kind of flow into each other?
Yeah, I mean, essentially what we do is we are mortgage brokers, but that's so limiting because people think of mortgage brokers as like the guy that sits in the back of the estate agents with a really badly fitting suit and telling you how you can get your residential mortgage.
Yeah.
We focus on the investor side. So that came about really, again, a little bit by accident. And again, this I take a lot of my leads from already successful people.
Yeah.
Richard Branson's got a philosophy which is just say yes and figure it out later. As I said before, my dad's a builder, so when the credit crunch was happening and finance was quite difficult, we came up with this idea of maybe buying a house and renovating it and selling it on, making a bit of money.
Yeah.
And he said, so you would know how to finance that because of what you do? And I went, oh, absolutely, not a clue.
Fake it till you make it.
Googled my way through that, called loads and loads of lenders and stuff, and I was I was really honest with them.
Yeah.
And I said, look, I'm a mortgage broker. I don't know what a bridging loan is. I don't know what development finance is. Can you just teach me, please? And they were all just like, of course we can. Not a problem.
Yeah.
And I learned that, and I started to go to some networking events. I suddenly thought, this is so much more interesting.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I was a really bad residential mortgage broker, so this was a great opportunity for me to lean into something a little bit different.
Honesty.
Yeah.
But it's nice though, because I think a lot of people get intimidated by being honest and by holding their hands up and being like, actually, I'm not too sure about this. But actually, that probably does make you more of a relatable person. It
does.
And it does go to show that people are willing to help and learn. And do you know what? I was in that position at one point. So let me just guide you through it. Which is lovely.
Asking for help is a hugely underused skill. I think like people just don't ask for help. They feel that by doing that they're shown to be weak or that they don't understand or they don't know something. I ask stupid questions all the time because the way I look at it is I don't have any pride like that. So I'm not limited by ego or pride or anything. I'm just like, what do I need to do? I need to know how to do this. This person can help me, so I'll ask them and then they'll tell me and then I can do it. I don't care whether that person thinks, well, that's a stupid question. Yeah. Like that's a them problem, not a me problem, because they've told me what I need then and I'm off. So yeah. Yeah,
everyone is just figuring it out as they go
Exactly.
and yeah, it's better to just be like, I'm not too sure, so you tell me, I'm willing to learn from you. And that's one thing I've definitely learned through being in the industry and, you know, learning from different people is just openly being like, please tell me, I want to learn. And people want to help you, you know. So you've got to utilise it. But when did you know that you wanted to step into your own territory, you know, and start Grand Union Finance?
I'm an only child, so. And I think you get two types of only children. You get the ones that are the sport brats, and you get the ones that are like wildly independent. And I'd like to think, hopefully, I fell into the second category. So I always knew that I kind of wanted to do my own thing. I was starting to become a little bit unemployable because I've always been wanting to do my own thing and do things the way that I feel that they should be done. Unfortunately, my industry, in terms of property finance and mortgage brokering and stuff like that, in my humble opinion, needs to have a bit of a shake-up. It's very greedy. It's very Wolf of Wall Street in certain instances. You know, I've been in offices where sales managers have told some of my colleagues when you know a potential client has said, "Oh, I'm not going to go ahead with that mortgage application more because I don't want to buy that property." And then the managers said to this person, "Oh, did you not try and persuade them to do that?" It's like, that's wrong. Like, why would you do that? That's gives you such an indication of what this industry is like. I think it's making some good strides, but not quick enough, in my humble opinion. And so I always knew that ultimately I was going to have to go my own way. I was going to have to do my own thing because I was always going to be under the control of somebody else. There was a situation that occurred in the last job that I ever had, and that was that we were the sponsor of this nationwide group of property events. And because I got a mouth on me, I was tasked to go to all these events. It was every Friday, all day. And at this job, I had to find all my own clients, do the actual job itself, do all the admin, do the compliance at the back end. And now I was also shoved out to do these networking events as well. And it just became incredibly overwhelming. And it got to a point where we were told we couldn't be sponsors anymore, because I just couldn't deal with the number of calls that were coming in from people that were at these events, and obviously they were then complaining to the event organisers, and I was like, this can't happen again. And I think that was one of the first. I knew for a long time that I wanted to do my own thing, but that was like a moment where I thought I couldn't control this situation, and ultimately I had somebody on the end of the phone shouting at me because they were disappointed in what I'd done, and I was frustrated that I knew that there was nothing that I could have done any differently to have helped that situation, and it upset me that someone else was so upset, and they were upset with me, but I didn't have the control. So I thought, if I start my own thing and somebody's not happy, at least I'm in control of that. At least I can say, wicked, like, I'm really sorry that you feel that way, but I'm glad that you brought this to my attention. I'm going to use that information to change what we do. When I was in that situation, I couldn't do that. I was, I had a boss above that dictated what we did. How he had things set up for himself was amazing, but we didn't get the same benefit of that, and that made life incredibly difficult.
And it doesn't always necessarily work for you as well. And I think, like what you said, if you believe in doing things in a different way, it's hard then to answer on someone else's behalf when you're actually giving your all to something. So that's a good indication of being like, actually, this is the time now where I'm going to step into my own territory and, set this up for myself and do things my own way. Did you have any like standout challenges that when you first stepped into your own territory and doing things your way, where you still remember them now and think, oh gosh, that was a big learning curve that I had to go through?
I say, people ask me this a lot, and I go, do you know what? The first year was piss easy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You'd think that'd be like the hardest year?
So we had, I started the business with a business partner who I'd worked with at two previous roles. And we got everything like set up really well, and it was really organised. We already had clients that we were working with that we could continue working with. We knew what we would like. We knew our job inside out, back to front. We call it signed up, as in like we brought on our first client on our first official day of trading. We didn't have a website. We were using a Gmail. It was grandunionfinance@gmail.com. So you don't need any of this fun stuff. We barely had a logo. I think we didn't even have a logo. I don't think by then. The only reason we're called Grand Union Finance as well, this just gives you an idea. My flat overlooks the Grand Union Canal, and my accountant was like, I need a name for the company, and I was like, looked out, Grand Union Finance, that'll do.
It's crazy though, isn't it? Because looking from the outside in, it's like, well, obviously you built it up now, but it's mad to think that that's where it all originated from, and you just have this Gmail account. And I think living in a time now as well where everything is so, marketed to perfection. You've got to look the best and be beyond, all the other competition. But actually, it comes down to the person that you are as well, and how you're going to make that rapport with people.
That stuff comes later.
Yeah.
That stuff comes later. We're only in a position now. We're going to turn 5 next month.
Oh, wow.
We're only in a position now where I'm starting to think about like partnership programs, and we don't even do any email marketing. Like 5 years in, we don't even do any email marketing.
Yeah.
Like that's like 1997 crap,
Yeah.
So
yeah, but it just goes to show that all the things that you probably think, if you were in that position of, do you know what, I actually want to do things my way, and you make that mental list of, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to do this? I need to do this. I need to do this. Actually, do you? Do you need to do it all?
Do you know, to have, in my humble opinion, to have a successful business, you have to do it good, not look like you're doing it good. So, because if you do it good, people will write a Google review for you. If you do it good, people will tell their friends about you. And that's how we've built the business, or I've built the business since buying out my business partner, is by trying to do the best job we possibly can. That's our best marketing strategy. We've got enough clients. We've helped hundreds of people since we started. And the way, and in so doing as well, we've had interactions with lots of other third parties, solicitors, accountants, estate agents, all people that may want to work with us at some point, we just have to show up and look good.
Yeah.
You know, to show what we're doing, and we're doing a really, really good job. Coming back to what I said earlier, making sure that everyone's aware of what we're doing, picking up the phone, explaining what's happening. So if we do a good job, that's the best marketing you can do.
Yeah.
I learned that from my dad. My dad, as a builder, has never advertised once in his life. He doesn't even have like anything on the side of his van that says like building company or number to call or email. I'm not even sure if he's got an email address for his business. But he has never not been in work since I've been alive.
Yeah.
I mean, at the moment he's got like 4 jobs. He's in his mid 60s, and he's got 4 jobs that he's working on at the moment. So, you know, that's off the back of just being a very good networker, old school, in the pub, talking to people. Yeah. And just doing a really, really good job so that other people tell other people. Yeah. And that's how we've got to where we are right now. I know to go to another level up now, we've got to do some more stuff. You know, we've got to sponsor more events. We've got to network. We've got to win awards. We've got to all this normal stuff. You know, we've got to look more polished. Our content needs to be better. Our marketing needs to be improved. But execution is the key. You start a business. People say, what do you need to start a business? And you go, well, a logo, a name. No, you need clients. Yeah. You need somebody that's willing to say, I will give you this money to do that job. And if that's all you need, that is literally all you need, and you just keep doing that more and more and more and more, and it just builds from there. And then you've got the money to probably get somebody that's better than you at doing those other things you just mentioned to do those other things. Yeah,
but it's mad because obviously, like, we live in this day and age now where everything is so saturated, you could say. The marketplace for stuff is, you've got to be all over social media, and you've got to have the branding on the side of the van, whereas, you know, businesses that have been going for years and years and years never had that, you know? So it's nice, really, that, when did you say you're turning 5? Next month?
June, yeah.
In June. So 5 years, though, to establish yourselves the way that you have and not prioritised as much as the marketing stuff, you've only got that now. You've got that foundation to build on, you know, now I can market because I'm just reaching wider audiences if you've already got that client base.
I mean, I find it crazy that we're at 5. Like, and I look back and I feel like this is the only thing I've ever done, but also I've only just started doing it at the same time.
How quick have those 5 years gone?
Like I say, it depends on the day. Sometimes it feels like I've been doing this for literally decades, and other times I'm like, I still remember that conversation with my accountant where I had to pick the name. Yeah, you know, I have the letter from Company's House, like, telling me that I'm now a director of Grand Union Finance, like, on my wall at home as like a little
reminder.
A reminder, humble beginning.
Yeah, it's nice. But let's look at understanding property finance then and getting started into that, because again, I'm the complete opposite end of the spectrum, and I really like chatting to all different people because there's job roles out there that you don't know exist. And you look at different things, you know, when you're in school and college and people are telling you, okay, you've got to map out your career. How are you meant to know about these job roles in different companies and different firms, and job roles that you can create yourself that you think, oh, I've never heard of that before, but people are out here doing it, making a lot of money from it. And I think there's a lot of interest now, and probably years before, but I know since getting a little bit older, property is a hot thing to be getting into, and there's probably a lot of young people thinking, I want to kind of break into property, but I don't quite know how, or I don't know where to get started, and there's a lot of confusion within it. So where should someone start, would you say, with your experience, if they're looking at breaking through into it? What would be the best place to kind of get into property overall?
It's a blessing and a curse that we have so much information at our fingertips. I mean, I literally use ChatGPT for anything now. When I need to know something, I just ask an app a question. It's insane. The blessing is the availability. The curse is knowing what's right and what isn't. So I would say to start with research, cast your net wide, get onto social media, get onto YouTube, get onto Instagram, listen to podcasts, hear what people in that chosen industry are talking about, strategies, where they came from, stories. Podcasts are the best thing for that. You know, we're doing it right now. Hearing somebody who you look at and go, that might be somebody whose path I want to kind of follow a little bit, and just listening to an hour of them talk about themselves, like that's cool. You'll start to get a feel for who you can know, like, and trust, and then you just sort of you get that net just gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and then you might be down to like 2 or 3 people, and those people are probably, you know, we're not it's not like you're wanting to be a movie star and you're trying to, which Hollywood actors do I want to be like?
Yeah.
It's not like you can just pick up the phone to Brad Pitt and say, hey, how did you become an actor?
Yeah.
But you probably could with 99% of the people that you're going to end up following online that are doing what you want to do in 2, 3, 4, 5 years time.
Yeah.
So those people are then available. You pick up the phone, you have a chat, and you just learn. You get into the environment. I'll go to networking events. I'll talk to people, and I'll be honest. My missus is just getting into investing in property herself, and she was a bit nervous about going to networking events and being a newbie and not knowing anything and saying the wrong thing. And I just said, but you're gonna. Yeah. You just need to get over that. Yeah. But I guarantee you that people will be endearing to that, and they will help you, and that they will listen to you. There are certain people, and we talked about my mate Shane earlier on. He and I go to a lot of networking events. We will see those people that are in their early 20s. Yeah. They want to do this thing called property, but they don't know what. Yeah. And sometimes you just need people to ask you the right questions. Getting in a room and somebody saying, what's the big plan here? What do you enjoy doing on a day-to-day basis? What is the thing that gets you going? What's the thing that lights you up? And then from there, you can kind of mold that into, this might be the right strategy for me. Yeah. Then you can work out how do you get into it and all that kind of stuff. So I think the first thing to do is just to get out there. Yeah, 100%. Is to watch things, listen to things, learn who you can and can't trust, speak to people, go to networking events, and build your network. If I was doing that right now, I would literally double down on that for 3 months. I'd just absolutely smash that for 3 months. And then take a breather and figure out next steps. I mean, Shane was the first episode we had on the Young Leaders Club podcast, and it was that doesn't surprise me. No, all about the power of networking, and he was saying how he challenged himself to go to 100 networking events in a year, but it is really the fundamentals of it, the power of branching out your network and meeting everyone, and we spoke about it before of how people are quite happy to take you under their wing and guide you through, and try this. Have you met this person? Have you done this? And you've got to really branch out your network in order to understand it. Do you know what I mean? Because like you said, you're not coming into it knowing everything. Everyone has started in that position of, okay, I've got this question, and I've seen that person online, but I'm not too sure. And it's just about making that connection and kind of being like, okay, I'm going to put this imposter syndrome to bed and just go into that environment and soak it all in, and you will come out being much more knowledgeable than before. So can you break down the difference then in bridging finance, development finance, and the BRR strategy? So for someone who knows nothing about it, if there's someone watching who knows nothing about it, I've got all this from your LinkedIn, and I'm thinking, what on earth is this? So how does it come into property then, and into being a mortgage broker, and et cetera, et cetera? Firstly, I'm clearly not doing a very good job if you don't know what it is and you've been on my LinkedIn. I should do a better job of trying to. If you talk to me about radio presenting, I'll soak it all in. Look, first and foremost, bridging and development finance are products. They're types of finance that you need in order to potentially do the BRR strategy. Okay. BRR stands for buy, refurbish, refinance. Other people add other R's onto the end of it, like rent, repeat. I don't know what else. Begins with R. Yeah, it basically depends how cold you are as to how many R's you're going to add onto it. I've always said, 2 R's is more than enough. Buy, refurbish, refinance. You're buying a property, you're renovating it, you're going to remortgage it. Okay. Because the value would have gone up as a result of you renovating that property, you can generally pull some cash out. That cash can then be used to go and repeat the process. That's another R that some people like to put on it. So that's a strategy. Now, back in the day, that strategy was a lot easier to do because the cost of building materials was less. The cost of building labour was less. The differences between a house that was very tired and in need of modernisation to what the cost of a property that is beautiful and lovely, that has sort of shrunk a little bit as well. So the margins just aren't there. So this then expands out into other different strategies where instead of it just being a single home, you might go, well, I could turn that house into 3 flats. I could turn that house into an HMO, house of multiple occupancy, where I'm going to be able to add more significant value. I might buy a commercial property and turn it into a residential property, which you don't need planning permission to do anymore. So the BRR strategy came in as this like portfolio building accelerator.
Yeah.
The market has changed. Yeah. That doesn't quite work as well as it has done. You can still do it. Yeah. You're just not going to pull as much money out. So that's the strategy itself has changed so that you need to just be maybe a little bit more creative. Now the bridging finance, the development finance, these are the types of finance that you're going to use to buy those crappy properties to start with. The lenders that offer these types of products, they're not as concerned with you being able to, someone being able to live in that straight away. They're not worried that it needs a renovation. They're not worried that it's going to be empty for a period of time. They're not worried that there's going to be potentially significant works done or a change of usage class or stuff like that. That finance is there as a short-term stopgap to be able to acquire that property, do what you need to do with it. Then we can slap a nice, easy buy-to-let mortgage on it on the back end, and that's when you can really release that cash. So these types of finance products, they get an insanely bad reputation because when you compare it to a mortgage, like a lot of the time it's a bit more expensive. But of course it's more expensive. Like a mortgage is simple, this is complicated. Yeah. So, but if you can understand it, understanding how to finance things is again a very, I believe, underappreciated skill that any property investor can have. There's only two things you really need to know about to be a property investor. It's how to find deals and how to find money. If you put the two together, then you're fine. But the finding of the money bit, I think a lot of people don't. It's probably because finance is boring. That's what it is. I try and make it as less boring as I possibly can. But
I'm not bored. I'm just like so much information.
I know. I'm terrible for it as well. It's like open mouth, stuff comes out.
No, but it's good because it gives you an insight for the people who are thinking like, oh, I'd really like to get into that, but I'm not too sure. It's a really good insight into how it's all broken down and how there are different strategies. And what would be your advice on people keeping up to date with, what's going on and what's new and what's coming in and this new strategy and everyone's adding ours onto this strategy,
It really is just keeping in with the right people, both online and offline.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate. Not only do I personally get to speak to loads of, and in my humble opinion, some of the country's best property investors on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. So I'm asking the question, or they're coming to me and they're going, I'm looking at buying this and I'm going to do this with it. I'm like, that's cool. That's really interesting. I've not seen that before. Yeah. And then I can tell one of my other clients about that and I can share that. So that's really, really useful. But now I've got a team. So I'm talking to them every day as well. Yeah. Oh, what's going on with this? Oh, that's interesting. This is amazing what this particular client's doing. I also do, but just because I genuinely enjoy it and I know I won't be able to do it forever, so I'm making hay while the sun shines, that I still talk to most clients, even if I'm not personally dealing with them, that are within the company, because I just want to check in and see how they are and talk to them about their big goals and ambitions and plans and stuff and how we can support them. So I'm lucky that I get to have that access and I can see what's happening. At the moment, everyone seems to be on this bandwagon of, I want to rent my property to social housing providers. That's incredibly difficult to finance. Yeah. I'm not sure it's actually as brilliant as everyone thinks it is, but that's the thing right now. That's the buzzword in property. But people will see this if they just get in and around it. Like I said, online, offline. Follow the right people on YouTube, listen to the right podcasts, go to the right property networking events. And when you go to these networking events as well, you're going to sit in an audience and you're going to get a couple of experts at the front of the room talking you through stuff. Go to the events where investors are going to do presentations on what they are currently doing, and you're just going to get a real insight into what works and what doesn't. A lot of them are quite happy to literally go and share all of the details of the projects they're working on, even down to we bought it for this amount, we're going to spend this amount on it, it's going to be worth this at the end. Breaking down the actual figures. Yeah. It's a very, the property industry is quite open. People are really happy to share what they're doing, because there is a bit of an abundance of opportunities. So people know that they're not giving this insight to a competitor. I mean, could you potentially go for the same property? Yeah, okay, but the chances of that are quite slim. There's a lot to go around, and it is quite an inclusive and transparent industry, I think. So, getting in and amongst it, that's the key,
I think even being at the Midlands Property and Investment Awards last year in Birmingham, I mean, I wasn't doing anything property related, just talking to people. But there's a lot of young people there getting involved in it and doing it. And you're interviewing them, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, wow. Like, they've got loads and loads of knowledge, and they're new into it. So it's good to share all these insights and get people to go to the events.
It's because a lot of these younger people, they might go and join a company.
Yeah.
And they're doing it day in, day out. They're seeing firsthand what, one or two of, like, people that are doing it really well in the industry are doing. And then they're being told, go off and do this. And they're learning that that's the way that they should be doing these kind of things. So there has to be a cut-off. When you're first starting out, you want to do all this research, you want to find out what you can, you want to get in amongst the right people, but there has to be a point where instead of learning, you stop learning and you, in the traditional sense, and you start executing and you start learning from experience. Experience is so key. As I said, when I first started out doing what I do, I was terrible. I was so bad that I actually had to change gyms once because I was attempting to do a mortgage for my gym manager at the time, and I did such a terrible job I had to change gyms. Like, that's how bad I was.
Run away from it.
Luckily I was quite quick when I was a kid. He was a gym owner. He was a bit bigger, so I was a bit quicker. But you have to go through that.
Yeah, you've got to learn from it.
You've got to make the mistakes, and I did that early doors. First 4 or 5 years of doing what I did, I wasn't great at it, and then things start to click. So all those people that you spoke to, and they seem to have all these amazing insights. It's because they do. It's because they're doing it day to day.
I think a lot of it is being persistent as well, and continuing at it. And even if you did have to run away from the gym manager at the gym, you kept at it and kept going and going and going. What's one misconception then that you see people? What's one misconception that you see people have about property investment and finance?
That it's easy. I think people,
it's not easy. I don't think it's easy from listening to you.
Well, certainly I think people tend to think that it's easy to finance a lot of this stuff. The amount of times that we'll get somebody that's got like no experience, no asset base, and then suddenly they want to buy a really dodgy property and do something really creative with it. And then I have to be the bad guy and tell them, there ain't no one that's going to lend you any money for that, mate. And that makes me feel bad, but I also understand it because the way I say this to clients all the time, I say, I wouldn't give you the money for this. Or I'll do it the other way. I said, would you lend somebody else in your position the money for this? Would you put your neck on the line? Would you trust that person to be able to do it? And a lot of the time they say no. And that's when you can kind of like start getting through to them. They feel a bit better about it. But it's play it safe and start simple. I think a lot of people in property, they think they need to reinvent the wheel. Genuinely, just in life in general, unless you're going to be a complete outlier and be the next Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just follow what other people have already done, and you're probably going to hit 99.9% of the targets that you want to achieve in your life. So that's what I would say is it doesn't need to be complicated. It's not easy. So try and make it as simple as possible and follow what other people have already done. Follow the path well trodden.
So you've built your career around supporting other people. You do lots of different talks. You put lots of tips on Instagram and things like that. So whether that's clients or people learning from you on stage or on social media, what's one financial principle or mindset that you wish you'd have been told when you were in that position?
Yeah, I had to learn this myself because when I came out of university, my financial situation was terrible. Credit score was just awful. I owed a lot of money, not in the traditional sense, just like credit cards and overdrafts and stuff. I think it's just to be organised with your financial situation. No matter what you do in your life, you will have less anxiety, less concerns, less worries if you know about what money's coming in and what money's going out, and just be organised with it. I did a talk about 3 years ago in London, and I love a bit of audience participation, so I got everyone to stand up and I said, sit down, stay standing if you can tell me to the nearest £100 what you spent last month. And eventually I whittled it down to £1, and one person in a room of 250 people could tell me what they spent last month to the nearest pound. And
my gosh, I wouldn't have a clue. Especially just tapping now.
And this is fundamentals. I think most people probably think they spend a lot less than they do. The other, few years ago, I was living with my ex-partner, and we had to move house really quickly because our landlord at the time was selling. It's quite a long while ago, and the only places we could find were wildly out of budget. So we did an itemised check of our bank statements, what we're spending, and we worked out that in the previous month we'd spent £1,600 on takeaways and going to the pub.
Oh my gosh, I bet you were like, no!
I was like, what the hell? We had no idea about that.
Yeah.
So, I've learned a lot since then. This was a while ago, but it just goes to show that a lot of people don't actually understand their own financial situation as best as they think they do. Even something as simple as get paid into one account and pay all your bills out of another account.
Just to segregate it, yeah.
Segregate it, yeah. I've got like a million different accounts that I use for loads of different things, but money comes in there, and you've got a spreadsheet of all your different bills. Send that amount to that other account. That's what all your direct debits. You now know that you're not going to miss a payment. Yeah. Because that's done. And whatever remains, that's your spending money. If that's how you choose to live your life. Yeah. Just real basic, just financial management. Yeah. This isn't taught in schools.
No, it's not.
And I don't understand. You come out of school and you know what Pythagoras theorem is, but you don't know how to open a bank account. Yeah. You don't know what a mortgage is. You don't know how a credit card works. You don't know how interest works. Yeah. This isn't even related to property or anything like that now. It's just your basic skills. And I think, especially going freelance in the last year and, having to talk with an accountant, and you're sorting everything out yourself, all your finances, you're putting them into spreadsheets, you're going through your bank statements, and just that simple question of, do you have a business account or a personal account? And I'm like, I just have a personal account, Yeah. There is so much to go through because you don't realise, especially we live in this day and age where carrying cash isn't really a thing. It's all done digitally. It's all done through online banking. I get so annoyed looking back at school now and thinking, God, you just weren't taught anything about those fundamental skills that you need as a young adult. I learned the starting point, and this goes. We circle back to how did you go about manoeuvring your 20s and stuff. I clearly just didn't know what I was doing at all. When I was 30, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, and my first reaction when I finished reading it was, oh, for God's sake, I've just wasted 30 years of my life. That if you want that, that should just be taught in schools. That should be a textbook that you read in schools about how money works. Yeah. You read it, it will change your life, and the philosophy of money, of how it works, how you should manage it, how rich people use money in a completely different way to poor people, and that's the reason why they're rich and poor people are poor. It's not government. It's not. It's personal responsibility and management for their own financial situation. Yeah. I have bought so many people a copy of that book. Like probably at least 50 people. I think I have a question about. Do I? No, I don't. But normally I ask a question: is there a book that you've bought that you've read that would change your life? So that would be yours. 100%. In fact, what's it called again? Rich Dad Poor Dad. Rich Dad Poor Dad. Okay. 100% read it. Yeah, I think it's only took me really until the last couple of years. I think going to university a little bit later. And when you're working different jobs and you're kind of just like cruising by, it's only been the last few years of my 20s where I've thought, my 20s, I'm not even at the end yet, but where I've thought I'm going to prioritise it a little bit more, and actually having more in your bank, you just feel so much better, rather than feeling like you're scraping by. But knowing and just being organised in general, like how much better do you feel, like this is like just for anyone listening, how much better do you feel when you've like tidied your kitchen? Or you don't have any washing in your washing pile. When you're on top of life is easier. Yeah. And you can then, the thing is, it releases you then to be able to do higher level stuff. Yeah. So if you know that your financial situation, like I have like a routine that happens towards the end of the month and towards the beginning of the month that I just make sure, because I still like to manually do certain things because it just gives me a bit of a buzz and I feel like I've contributed and I've organised stuff. I still will move money manually and do all that kind of stuff. I like a 3 or 4 day kind of period where all that happens from the business point of view, then a personal perspective as well. And I now know, like, what are we on now? Like 7th of the month, I think, something like that. May, yeah. I'm sorted for the month. Like my month is now sorted financially. I know exactly where all my money's going.
Yeah.
It knows where it's going.
Yeah.
And it's done and dusted.
Yeah.
That is something that now is not a concern of mine anymore.
Yeah.
So I can now think about higher level tasks because the lower level tasks have been taken care of.
Yeah.
The anxieties that most people feel from a financial perspective, there's that whole thing about, oh, it's the last week of the month, I've got no money left. I know I don't have that problem. I'm going into the last week of the month going, yeah, cool.
I'm fine, I can do that,
I'm all good. I don't have that worry. And that means it frees you.
Yeah, and I've been in a position before where you think, oh, I've got paid, sound. I can pay that. Because I've backlogged it from the month before, and then you're just back in the same position again. Exactly. But you are right, like, I feel if you've got a clear space around you, clear mind.
Yep.
If I walk into my room and it's a shithole, I'm instantly like, oh God, I don't know what I need to do. I don't know where I need to put myself. I don't know where I put this. As soon as I've done that spring clean, okay, I feel like I can take on other tasks now. So it's just applying that to other things, which is a really good bit of advice.
And these are all this is all really basic stuff.
Yeah.
But I think people we go back to the overcomplicated thing, right? Just people are like, oh, you've got to run a business, you've got to do this, and this. No, just find someone that wants to give you money for what you're offering. Like just simplicity.
Simplify everything.
Simplify everything as best you possibly can.
Sorry, I'm losing where I am. Yes. So all of this kind of stems onto money confidence, right? So why do you think money confidence is so critical to success? Do you think it comes back to, simplifying things and breaking it down and, not overcomplicating it to then achieve higher? Or do you have your own analogy of being money confident?
I think it's not necessarily just money confidence, it's life confident. Being organised in any facet of your life allows you the freedom to be more confident in general,
Yeah.
Knowing that something has been taken care of means that if you're anything like me and you've got quite a messy mind and there's a lot going on, it's something that you know that you then don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. It's overwhelm in the 21st century is humongous, especially amongst younger people nowadays. Yeah. When I was younger, I didn't have half the things to worry about that most people in their 20s do now. There is so many draws on your time, draws on your attention, that removing as many of those things as possible actually just can make you feel less overwhelmed, less anxious, and just more in control of your own life.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it comes down to. It's finance, personal finance is just one of probably one of the biggest reasons why people have mental health problems, have split up with partners, get divorced, commit suicide. Like this is how serious it is.
Comes back to money, yeah.
Well, a lot of it comes back to money, and if you can remove that anxiety from your life, then you have that breathing space to then have real life confidence. I think. I think it's just so fun, and this is why it really annoys me that it's not taught in schools.
Yeah. Because
I think it could change this entire country. Having more people just fundamentally understand.
The basics that you speak about, are they things that you have put into talks or put on social media? Because obviously, like a lot of it can come back to like the mortgages or the finance or being a mortgage broker. And for someone like me, for example, if I came across it, I'd be like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I don't know. But what you're saying it applies to everybody. It
does, yeah.
So is it things that you've brought into your talks?
Yeah, to a certain degree. I mean, we said off air. I'm pretty I kind of make things up as I go along. I don't really plan like what I'm going to say on certain talks, and I feed off the audience and what they want, and I give them what I think they need and what they want. But yeah, certainly I've given some talks about it. It's just something I'm very passionate about. Like, I really want younger people to understand money a hell of a lot better than they do, because you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know that you need to know this stuff until sometimes it's a bit too late. I went to university and my bank rang me to offer me a credit card. And then I had one. Yeah. Because I said, that sounds great. Just, I can have that money, right? I didn't actually know how it worked.
Yeah, it's so easily accessible.
And the interest compounded and got worse and worse and worse and worse the longer I had it and the longer I had a balance. You're just not taught the dangers of this kind of stuff. So, I just think having that basic foundation level, it's like building a house. You wouldn't build a house without the foundations, otherwise it would fall down. So trying to do high level stuff, complicated stuff without the simple stuff just means that you're setting yourself up potentially to fail a lot easier.
It's just changing your mindset, isn't it? But obviously, the Young Leaders Club is about championing new career changes, going into areas that you're maybe thinking of going into, not being too sure, having leaders there, having mentors there to kind of coach you through these next steps, offering that place to network and meet new people. How do you think you would have benefited from a program like the Young Leaders Club if you could go back to your late teens, early 20s?
Yeah, massively. I didn't have that. I really didn't. I fell into an industry that is quite secretive.
Yeah.
It's very dog eat dog. People don't want to help each other out. You know, finances. I joke. I mean, it's not quite as bad, but if you ever watch The Wolf of Wall Street and you see those sales floors, I've been on those sales floors.
Really?
Yeah, it is dark and it's.
High pressured.
I once got employee of the month and was sacked the next month. And then they offered me the job back, and I said no.
Oh my gosh!
Like,
is this in that sales environment where the phones are popping off and?
Yeah, it was.
Oh
just,
my goodness!
It's crazy.
That's quite an achievement, though, actually. Employee of the month to then the worst.
Yeah. Literally 0 to 0, right?
You've got to thank them for it, for where you are now.
I still speak to the MD now of that company.
Does he regret it?
Of course he does. Yeah, no, he lives in Monaco. He's having a great.
Oh, he don't care then.
He's happy. He's fine.
He's in Monaco. Nice.
But yeah, it's a pretty dog eat dog world, and so I didn't have people that I could go to.
Yeah.
So yeah, an organisation like this where there are people around that have been there, done it, got the t-shirt, and you can just ask them the stupid questions the questions you think are stupid without the concern of feeling stupid. I think it's so fundamentally important, and it's good that it exists.
Have you ever had, after being sacked and being employer of the month and whatever, and being in that period of your life, have you ever had someone that you can rely on for being that type of mentor, that kind of person you can look up to and ask, that go-to person you can rely on?
I've got loads of people. I'm so lucky. I think anyone should have people around you that are in a similar level.
Yeah.
I've got, the Shanes of this world that I speak to. Even this morning I was talking to, a friend of mine, she runs an accountancy practice, and she literally sent me a message, goes, I appreciate you so much. Because we talk all the time about this.
Yeah.
So having people on your level is really important. Having people that you know that are kind of a little bit behind where you are, that you can then help along, I think is really important. But then having other people that you know that are obviously further and further in front of you. I never burn any bridges with anyone, hence why I still speak to this MD. He's not the MD anymore, he's sold the company now. But I do feel that I have a lot of people around me that I can just go and say, I've got this particular problem. What are your thoughts on this? I had it last year. I'm really, really lucky. I'm very good friends with an ex PwC director. So that's a big accountancy and tax planning company in the world. He knows business inside out, and I said, you just need to help me make this all more efficient. Like, what's wrong at the moment? We're not making as much money as we probably should do, and I think there's a bottleneck somewhere. And I literally met him at a pub. We got a napkin, and we wrote out like how my business was working, and he instantly went, "That's your problem right there." And we got rid of that issue, and it's just completely changed the business. So having somebody that you can go to and is willing to, I mean, I bought him a couple of beers, so it all comes out.
You might have to buy people a couple of beers along the way.
Buy people lunches, buy people drinks, just.
I think it just comes back to being just genuinely being a nice, approachable person, and people won't forget you for being a nice, approachable person.
And do what you can for other people.
And a humble person as well, because talking to you now, like, you're in the position you're in, but you're still very humble about everything and your approach to everything. And again, being in the position that you're in and still, acknowledging the fact that there are people higher up that you can approach to help you out. You're going to need help along the way, and getting out of that mind frame of thinking, no, I've got it sorted, I know what I'm doing. Even the biggest of businessmen still probably think, I actually don't know what I'm doing, or there's that element of, I'm just going to wing it.
The best sports people in the world have coaches.
Yeah.
Like, you never stop learning. I think that you're only an expert in that moment.
Yeah.
In the next moment, you may no longer be an expert because something else comes along that supersedes what you already know.
Yeah.
So you've got to stay humble. You've got to stay hungry to learn. I still now, we get on weekly calls with banks and lenders and stuff that we work with, and we're asking them the question, how could we do things differently? How can we improve this? Tell us a little bit more about that part of your process so that we can make that little bit of what we do slightly more efficient.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it all comes back down to we want to give our client the absolute best customer service that they've ever experienced by a million miles.
Yeah.
To do that, we owe it to them to constantly be ahead of the game and be top of the game, be the best of what we can be.
Yeah.
And I think everyone should have that mindset of it's never done. Like, you've constantly got to keep learning. I mean, who knew 5 years ago that we weren't going to be using Google as much and suddenly we were going to be using ChatGPT to answer our questions, So you've got to stay ahead of the game.
Yeah, it's fast evolving, everything, especially
and
like in this day and age.
Things are getting more complicated quicker.
Yeah, and you've got to stay on top of it.
You've got to stay on top of it.
Absolutely. Let's do a bit of a quick fire round then.
Okay.
Finance hacks. So try your best to give it, whatever I fire at you, the first thing that kind of comes to your mind. So one skill you think every young leader should master?
Oh, being able to inspire a team, I think.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's probably, because business is people.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
100%. Like you said at the beginning of your business and starting your business up, it was all about the clients rather than everything else that came on top of it. Yeah, absolutely. One myth about property finance that you think needs to go?
Bridging is dangerous. It's not at all. It's I would say that you've got one bridging lender, one property, and then you've got exactly the same situation over there, and the only thing that's different is the person taking out the loan. One fails and one doesn't. What's the difference? It's the person that's taking it out. It's not the product, it's the person using the product. And I get so annoyed when people are like, don't use bridging loans. They're too expensive, they're dangerous, they're going to come after your house. No, if you can learn how to use it, it's the best thing.
Here we go, Sam Norris is your man. Best financial decision you ever made?
Oh.
Maybe not a personal one, maybe more from a business aspect.
I think it's learning. Well, it was off the back of a bad one. Being so financially all over the place when I was at university made me have to work out how to be really financially savvy and financially literate. Yeah. So after I finished uni, I basically spent 4 or 5 years trying to sort my credit out and all that kind of stuff. So it was making that decision to not just bury my head in the sand, but get on top of my finances and really understand, how my credit file worked and the fact that the better that was, the more I could improve my financial situation.
Yeah, but just stemming off from that quickly as well, so many people are in that position of being at university. It's so hard to be at university, especially if you're not living at home and you're living away, because it is so expensive. And I think lots of people come out of it thinking, oh my God, I am literally scraping the barrel here. But you have to really be in that mindset to be like, no, this is the money I'm now getting, this is how I'm going to prioritise it, and getting yourself back on track, because you do just feel so much better, and it does really lift that weight.
That's unfortunately, I think we do live in a bit of a culture now where it's really easy just to blame somebody else for your misfortune.
Yes.
And if every single second spent blaming someone else is time wasted on sorting yourself out. And if you are not happy in the situation you're in, I can guarantee you no one else will care more about your situation than you. Yeah. In fact, a lot of them won't care at all. Least of all politicians or whatever. So whatever party's in power, they don't care about you. You've got to take the responsibility yourself to improve your situation. If anyone in your current community or whatever has done what you aspire to do, then you have no excuse whatsoever.
I'm loving this. This is such good advice. And one thing you do to stay on top form every day, would you say that it is that kind of clear space, clear mind approach?
Yeah, I'm very hit and miss. Sometimes I'll have A days, and sometimes I just won't. Okay. But I know what I need to do. I know what I should do every day. Stupid things like just finishing the shower with a cold burst. Things like making sure that you drink loads of water in the morning. Don't eat really sugary stuff. Because I know if the amount of times, honestly, that I've been so like hard at work and I'm just like, I need a treat, and I'll literally go to like McDonald's down the road and get a McDonald's for lunch, and then I'm buggered for the afternoon.
Yeah.
And like, you know that these things happen. You know, get your heart rate up once a day, twice a day. It's just little things like that. These are all the things that when you put them together are going to end up giving you an A grade day. I like to think of like what I do similarly to like what a professional athlete would do. You know, treat yourself a little bit like an athlete. Make sure you get your night's sleeps that you need as well. It's things like that. I don't think, again, we can overcomplicate it with, I do this with my to-do list and stuff like that. A lot of it is the fundamentals of how you feel. So if you can get yourself into a situation where your mind is right and your body's right, you're going to be able to deal with whatever problems the day like kind of brings you.
Yeah, and well-being really does come into it. Like, it's all good and well saying I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this, but honestly, looking after your mind is a massive one. But also, like you just said, getting your heart rate up. What did you do this weekend? Got your heart rate up?
Do you know, I have a Fitbit, other smartwatches are available, and it monitors your, they call them active minutes.
Okay.
And I did my entire week's worth of active minutes in one day.
That's the advice.
I burnt over 10,000 calories on Saturday.
Oh my goodness. And how far was it you walked?
106. Well, it was 106 kilometres officially, but we tracked 116 because we thought there might have been some diversions around the island.
Oh my God. And you said you had a lot of sugar.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that goes back on what I said earlier, doesn't it?
But if you're walking that far, you've got to have something.
Yeah, we knew in that instance, and I think this is actually really fundamental. Like I posted on Instagram today about like what I learned from that experience, and one of them was being prepared.
Yeah.
Beforehand, I ate right that week. I stretched. Yeah, I did a post about this. So we did. Yeah, it was me and Shane, who was your first guest on this show. We did 106 kilometres around the Isle of Wight, the perimeter. Actually worked out to be about 116 once we factored everything in.
So you did the whole perimeter?
Yeah, walked the whole perimeter, no sleep.
In one day?
It was 7 a.m. Till 3 p.m. the following day, no sleep, straight through. I don't know. Apparently it was my idea. Shane seemed to think it was my idea.
Was it hot though? Because it was hot the weekend.
Yeah, it was quite warm. It was quite warm. But then it was cold at night.
Right. Okay.
So, and you don't want to be carrying too much as well.
Yeah.
Which is all like that. That's kind of one of the things I learned about this. I believe that whenever you do anything, and doing a bit of self-evaluation, thinking back, what did you learn? Shane asked me this. We were 5k to the end. He goes, what have you learned about yourself in this process? Very philosophical, our Shane. And there was two things. The first one was like to do with the preparation. We beforehand I ate right, I drank right, really hydrated.
Yeah.
I packed my bag so that it wasn't too heavy. I only packed what I needed. I knew that getting a blister was going to ruin the whole thing. So it's like, right, how do I avoid that? I had more.
Get the Compede on.
I joked. I did this joke a few times on the way around because it hit. So I was like, oh yeah, someone laughed at that. I'll do that one again later.
Yeah.
Had more Compedes on than the average Newcastle can do. We changed socks every time we stopped. So it was the preparation.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I really enjoyed about the process. Actually, was the fact that physically I wasn't ready to do it. I didn't train enough. I didn't train at all really. But because I was prepared, I made it as easy as I possibly could for myself by having the right things inside of me, and then during the course of the walk, continuing to put the stuff that I needed in that moment. Burning 10,000 calories on Saturday meant that it didn't matter what I ate. I was going to burn them off anyway. It was all good. Staying hydrated, drinking, Lucozade, electrolyte water, whatever. Doing all that kind of stuff, and that was really interesting, and it just reminded me how important preparation is to this kind of stuff. The other one though was just like the mental toughness of it. I look back over the course of my career, and there have been times that have been like really difficult, really dark, and I've learned that I can get through it, and then I can be successful on the back of it. And the walk was, again, a bit philosophical, but I really dug into like my mental strength. There were certain parts halfway through I genuinely was ready to throw in the towel. And my brain was like, no, what you did? No, we're doing this. You can't tell people that you came all the way to the other way and then didn't do this.
Yeah, it's mad because you think like when you put it into context of it being a walk, I think naturally people think, oh, just a walk. When you're walking non-stop for that long,
made for it.
Yeah,
your body is not made for walking.
A massive
for that period
mental
of time.
challenge.
Yeah, even I mean, to be honest with you, if you go, let's say a month, and you walked 20,000 steps a day for a month, by the end of it, you'll be wrecked. Your body's not. We're not. You know, human beings are not walkers. You know, we are hunter-gatherers. We get in a little area, and we send a couple of people off every now and again to go and hunt for stuff. But most of the time, we just sit together. That's what we're made for.
Yeah, we're quite lazy, really, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. So to that in itself, your joints start, because it's a monotonous, like, you know, pounding on the floor. Knees started to hurt. My knee went with like 3 kilometres to go, and I literally thought, I'm gonna have to crawl the rest of this.
Oh no!
Your feet.
Was it a proper teamwork? Did Shane have you round his
well,
shoulder?
No, Shane was here. He kept just walking off. Shane just kept like walking off in front of me.
He was trying to get out the sun.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he looked like a lobster. But I had like walking poles. So like, yeah, one of them I was kind of using as a crutch to get around the last bit. But yeah, the mental toughness. I was shocked. I was really quite proud of myself.
Yeah.
As to. I just didn't allow myself to give up. And it's good. Whenever you have those kinds of experiences, you can relate that to so many different other facets of your life.
Absolutely.
Like, I know that now I've got that to draw on.
Yeah.
You know, I know that if I've got a problem, I can figure it out.
I can get out of it because I can walk the perimeter of the
I
Isle of Wight without stopping.
Without stopping.
So I can sort out this dodgy client.
Yeah, exactly.
But this leads on to the last one. So what is your business or life motto that you kind of say by? I think you did kind of touch on this earlier. You gave me a quote from Richard Branson.
Oh yeah, what was it? Say yes and figure it out later.
Yeah.
That's one. There's so many that
you live by.
Yeah. I some of them I'm not sure whether I made them up or not because I use them so often. So I always say the right way is always the right way.
You can claim it.
I think that's one of mine. The right way is always the right way.
Nice.
I like that. I think that, you know, you don't have to do the wrong thing. You don't have to put people out. You don't have to make other people's life difficult to get good things done. So that's one. Never put off till tomorrow what you could do today. That's a big one that I share with my team all the time. Like,
that's a good one of staying on top of stuff.
Yeah, let's just get stuff done. Because do you know what? And this happened recently. You know, I set my ops team a little project that I needed them to do, and I said, you've got till Friday to do it, and it was like Tuesday. And one of them, we were relying on one person, and bear in mind, she was busy, but she probably should have sorted this out. She left it to the last minute, and then a family member got ill, and she had to go and help them, which meant that we then missed that deadline to sort that out because she hadn't done it. And look, I'm never going to tell her, don't go and see your family member that's ill. That's definitely like something that family is the most important thing. But what I said to her afterwards was you're now behind on that, and you're going to feel the anxiety
and the pressure,
of doing that. You could have done it on Wednesday or Thursday, and then it would have been done. Like, so yeah, I think a lot of people put stuff off. If you have got time to do it today, get it done today.
Yeah.
Don't put it off because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
No, it's a good one. Sam, thank you so much. I have gained so much more knowledge.
It's been fun.
I'm ready to be a mortgage broker now.
You definitely no one, not one kid stands up at school and they say, "What do you want to be when you're older?" Hey, a mortgage broker.
They will after watching this podcast. But no, it's good to get your insights on it, and it's good to just kind of, you know, make people aware that there are different avenues to go down. But if people want to find you on anything, where can they find you?
I'm probably most active on Instagram. You can find me at the Sam Norris, so that you don't confuse me with others. But yeah, and like YouTube, podcast, Instagram, anything else, LinkedIn.
Yeah, you put lots of different tips on, which are good. So if you are into this kind of stuff and you want to maybe follow a little bit more of what Sam's doing, then definitely go and check out your socials. And you do lots of public speaking as well. Yeah. And lots of events. Are you at anything in the next few months?
In July, I can't remember the date, I'm speaking at Hard Hats to Hills, which is a female-only property investor networking group. I
interviewed those guys at the Midlands Property and Investment Awards. Lovely people.
Yeah, so I will be there. There's another one in epping that I'm meant to be doing as well. I don't know.
It'll be on your LinkedIn.
It will all be on my LinkedIn.
Yeah, so go and connect with Sam. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm ready to go to the world of property and
do it.
And mortgaging
It's
and finance.
incredibly fun.
Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll maybe get you on another one soon. Who knows? Thank you.